Ebusuani komo unfortunately ha GH Politics Avenue. Podcast or sa onia muham trendy and a jembre na edibi exum. Enidium ni anroxium ene edi kanyam. Check say obetimi subscribe to the channel, but when so obetimi hit notification bell, share na for front so inside into me inkebi. Onia yambo imra eye kosi prata so ye na what check say MPP minority in parliament a breach constitution audio enye asem koto akra led Afenyo markings. Now what say state of the nation address no yehu MPP amayiko say omu ekuta koko na sa koko na ekuta wo mu no a breach of your constitution no, because a National Liberation Council ayemra afa ho se obi a obeplogi koko bia se nipa no yemfa ni nyina emra no na emra no enye dey emfa no inni no na de o mu se MPP o sensi sudia se omu fiction for scandals no against NDC no se omu enye bia ense se omu itwa ntro na edigu amayiko no ho ifi na what church say we mu nyina eye breach of constitution ayese speaker hwe omo na yemra no na asotwe sefata pa no ye de ma wo mu enye se bia me pa cho bi ye mo nrokuti prata so ye abra wa jemre.
Does a apology settle the score?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I'm scandalized by the conduct of a minority in parliament, which is obviously just fishing for scandals. And when it's unable to find the scandals, it comes up with all kinds of conjectures and has no respect, sometimes, even for the law. It must be worrying for everybody. And I think it's about time that we told the minority in parliament that their duty in parliament is not to manufacture scandals. Their duty in parliament is not to do the kinds of things that they're doing in parliament, but to focus attention on the felt needs of their constituents and Ghana as a whole. You see, what does an apology do in this matter? What does an apology do in this matter? Does an apology actually correct the harm that has been done? Because part of the harm which has been done is that the credibility of Parliament itself is tested when these statements are made. You understand? And so many things have happened within the last few months that must be exceedingly worrying to all of us. For example, when parliamentarians deliberately and willfully break the law, it must be of concern to us. They are the lawmakers. You see, during the State of the Nation address, the minority actually went to Parliament with cocoa pots. Do you know that that's an infringement of the law? There's a law passed by the National Liberation Council which makes it an offense to pluck or harvest and ripen cocoa. And the minority went into Parliament with unripened cocoa. Clear violation of the law. And then they do this, and every time they say, oh, we are sorry, we apologize, the speaker is so happy, he says, oh, matters die. Look, we are not sitting in the village chief's court. That's not where we are sitting. We are sitting in Parliament, a National Assembly. That's where we are. In a village, chief's court, you may apologize and send a bottle of schnapps and fowls and so on. But we are sitting in a national parliament. And we expect some actions to be taken, and we expect some wrongs to be rectified. Yeah. When the minority leader, for example, presented himself at the ECOWAS court, and the speaker referred the matter to the Privileges Committee, what happened? Do you know? I don't know. I think that we should take Parliament more seriously than we're doing now. Parliament is an important house where laws are made. It's an important house where major national records are kept and preserved. You understand? I think we should take Parliament seriously. The minority must understand that this is not the way to win elections. This is not the way to come to power. The way to come to power is to present a credible alternative platform and program to the existing one. You understand? These things don't help us in any way. Instead of breaking the law, carrying and wrapping cocoa pods to Parliament and so on, they should have gone to Parliament with a credible analysis of the cocoa industry, showing us how it is possible to pay the cocoa farmer more than what the cocoa farmer has been paid today. They don't have that. It is not possible to produce a credible alternative. Because the world market price of cocoa has tumbled. All the producer countries are thinking about doing what Ghana has done. La Côte d'Ivoire clearly is thinking about doing what Ghana has done. To the extent that cocoa smuggling from La Côte d'Ivoire, I'm told, is on the rise because Ghana's price is better than La Côte d'Ivoire. So what all this shenanigans about? You know, and sometimes the recourse to ethnicity is shocking.
It's shocking.
This is the minority leader in Parliament virtually calling on others to rise against a decision of government because one of the characters in play is an ever. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked to the marrow. Is this how they intend to come to power? What do they take the people of Ghana for? They take the people of Ghana for yo-yos. You can say anything, do anything, lie, make false statements and so on, and they think that will bring them to power. They're deceiving themselves.
See how maybe Parliament will federate. Because I have my observation. Look, the apology for me, unless the argument is that they've apologized, fine. The records expunged. What about the public domain? And do they even consider the public sentiment, the perceptions within the public space?
You see, we have allowed some of the political leaders to get away with many things. And that's a problem.
That's a problem.
I mean, not too long ago, a political party leader, a member of the National Executive Council of a political party, a regional chairman of a political party, publicly claimed that the vice president is the wife of the president. You remember? And nothing happened. He just laughed about it. This is blatant disinformation. You know, another one actually said that the vice president is not a Fanti, is not from the central region, it's a Northerner. So what? Let us assume that it's even true that she's a Northerner, so what? And they get away with this. You know, they get away with these kinds of statements. Why do we allow them to get away with these kinds of statements? I can't understand.
Even that is in the public domain. Let the public deal with it. But in Parliament, you see, members of Parliament, when they get elected into Parliament, must appreciate the sanctity of the House, the place of the House in our governance architecture. They must, and the weight that has been put. The weight of responsibility that have been imposed on them. It seems they don't appreciate that.
Alaji Muntaka says he has accepted the apology. What is his locus? He, as Minister of Interior, what is his locus? Has he got the right to accept any apology? The offense was not directed at him. It's an offense which is directed at Parliament and Ghana. He has no locus whatsoever to accept or reject the apology. Alaji Muntaka, he says he has accepted the apology. So what?
During the coming days, we'll hear more on this matter. I have strong belief on that. Now, let's take our attention to the Middle East, because obviously it looks like and yesterday I read a report that the President, John Mahama, is calling on African countries to, you know, brace themselves for maybe perhaps possible shocks that will emanate from the conflict in the Middle East. We are told back home that we have 4 to 5 months cover when it comes to our fuel reserves. Now the talk is about that we're going to shore up our reserves when it comes to fuel. So obviously it looks like the crisis in the Middle East is biting, not just in Ghana, but will be biting across the African continent and in fact the entire world. I want to start with you, Mr. Philip London, on this. What do you make of the current issues emanating from the Middle East? A whole lot.
Well, like you're saying, it's a whole lot. And when you talk about the issues, there are so many, you don't even know which one to start with. The fundamental issue in the Middle East is the attack on Iran by the United States and Israel. We woke up to hear that bombs had dropped on Tehran, and in no time we were told that the Ayatollah had been taken out. And this was very troubling. Then we heard that the United States attacked because Israel had attacked. Then it was Israel attacked because the United States had attacked. Nobody is sure who attacked first. Then the assumption was that, more than 200 fighter jets from Israel, more than 150 fighter jets from the US, bombarded more than 2,000 locations all over Iran, and they had, in a matter of hours, subdued the military of Iran to virtual zero. Another 24 hours later, we heard about the attacks, the response from Iran, hitting American bases, and then the friendly fire on American aircraft by the Bahrainian anti-air defenses. So there was a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion. And the whole world was on tenterhooks, because that is the area of the world where the majority of the world's oil comes from. Not just oil, but even refined products. Natural gas as well comes from. And all these products come to the Strait of Hormuz, a comparatively narrow area that if, in a case like this, if it is blocked, it affects all shipping in that area.
So 20% of the world's oil
comes from that enclave. And it has happened. All shipping has ceased. Then we saw that in the Iranian responses, not only were they targeting the US bases, but even some of the the international airports were being hit, or areas close to international airports, and therefore jeopardized the safety of the commercial airspaces in those areas. So we saw people of all nationalities across the world stranded overnight. So this is massive chaos. The whole world had been pleading that the President of the United States should not make that move, which was going to have terrible consequences on the rest of the world. Terrible consequences. We all prayed it won't happen, but what happened? It did happen. He did attack. As for Netanyahu, he did. He's been gunning for. So far as Benjamin Netanyahu is concerned, there's one thing he has been saying constantly over the last 10 years, that Iran is on the verge of a nuclear weapon. On the verge. How can one country be on the verge of a nuclear weapon for 10 years and hasn't been able to develop that nuclear weapon? It's only an excuse. It's only an excuse. So this is the confusion, the chaos, the disruption, and there will be consequences. The other day I heard that Ghana, we have how many months supply of oil? that is going to take us 4 months supply. But they have to start working to replace those supplies and adding up to it. We can't wait for 4 months and say we are now looking for more supplies. No. And many countries of the world have learned from the experiences of the past to also build their reserves. So thankfully, the kind of spike that we saw in oil prices in previous efforts in the Iraq war, etc., yes, there's been increase in the oil price, but the kind of spike that existed previously hasn't happened yet. We are hoping that it won't go any further. So now, this is where we are. This morning we are hearing that, according to Americans, the Iranians are asking for talks. They want to negotiate. The Iranians responded, for the way. Now we hear that the Americans are, it is becoming apparent that the Americans are running out of precision ammunition, missiles that are precision guided, missiles that can take curves and things to find their target. They are running out of them. So they're now saying that, oh, there shouldn't be a problem because they have enough bombs that are gravity directed. So when they open the hatch of the plane, then the bomb just drops on whoever is in the way. So we'll be expecting a lot of collateral damage because these bombs will not be precision. So the situation is only going to get worse. And the Americans are afraid, although the president has warned that he's going to send troops on the ground, they know that they can't afford to send troops on the ground. And the cost of the war is going higher than they thought. So the calculations that they made are not going the way that they expected. So as to the repercussions and the problems, it's only just the beginning. And what for me is even the worst part of it is that something I heard only early this morning as well on an international network was that President Trump is saying that the war started because he had the feeling the Iranians were going to attack America. A feeling, no. He just felt that Iran was going to attack America. So you go and bomb them, kill their leader. The leader who was elected, you go and kill him too. Chaos. Chaos. And if Iran were to disintegrate, God save the world. God save the world. Because the armaments they have and still have, what we saw after Iraq will be child's play as compared to what will happen. You know, it's like they're trying to do, what they did to Libya. They went to take out Gaddafi, take out his leadership, destroy the country, and Libya has not had peace. Bombed all the massive developments that Gaddafi built for his people. Bombed all of it. That's what they're doing to Iran. So it is most unfortunate. I just pray that this would end soon and the whole world would have some peace.
Somebody says the war is going on, but the reasons are undercover. We know it's just about regime change, to have access to natural resources in that country. But the economic repercussions are telling on not just in Iran and in the USA. Every part of the world seems to be gearing themselves up for the rippling effect of this particular war. How do we see ourselves as a country in this vein?
The war is neither a regime change nor founded on any acceptable reasons why nations should go to war. It's just to meet the personal ego of Netanyahu and Donald Trump. It's part of the rapture that Keir Starmer, no, it's not Keir Starmer, McCartney talked about. And when he's talked about the rapture of the world order, at that point he was talking about the invidious incursions and disregard for the international order that we have put in place since 1945. And said that the world will never be the same again because he had seen a blatant disregard for the international world order. in the laws regulating the conduct of nations. Now, that was because Trump had brought in some disruptive behavior in terms of the imposition of tariffs, contrary to the negotiated positions that existed before he came into office. Now, at that time, Kanye was speaking. Trump had also expressed an interest in possessing Greenland, which is a territory of Denmark and a member of NATO. And again, it was something unthinkable in the past, that a NATO member will seize the territory of another NATO member. So that went straight to the heart of the NATO alliance.
We say in some horotim course or channel so mamma so yemre or hara senator body, no, it had been be Edumania, Yabasan Aberram.